Chris here from Let's Buy Stuff Cheap and Alva's Classic Car Rescue. In this video, we're going to be discussing how not to get your vehicle towed away, either in front of your home or anywhere you may park it or drive it. And if you like what we're doing, please hit the subscribe button down below. Most recently, I had my classic 1967 Oldsmobile Toronado towed away in front of my home. Here's the picture. Most recently, I had my 1967 Oldsmobile Toronado towed away in front of my home. And I've been working on this Oldsmobile for approximately about over a year. It's been sitting in my garage. It didn't have any license plates on it. License plates were actually in the trunk because it's been sitting there so long as I worked on it. And just one day, I wanted to take out the Oldsmobile and work in the garage, move some stuff around, do some cleaning, and pulling the Oldsmobile in front of my house on the street. And as I was busy working in the garage, I ended up having to go back and take care of my daughter for 3 to 4 hours. I didn't come back outside, and then all of a sudden I got a phone call from my neighbor. My neighbor informed me that there was a community service officer in front of my home going through my classic car, and I ran out there and started to have a conversation with the community service officer. And I said, "What's going on, officer?" He said, "Is this your vehicle?" I said, "Yes." It was in my garage. I needed to do some cleaning in the garage, and explain to him the situation. And he says, "Okay, but there's no identification or registration saying that the vehicle is registered here or part of this home." I'm like, "Well, you could have came up to the door and knocked on the door, and I would have came out and informed you and showed you the appropriate paperwork to say that the car did belong in front of my home." And he just basically said, "Well, I didn't do that." And then we kind of went back and forth a little bit. I was very calm, gracious, and I said, isn't the community service officers or the code enforcement not supposed to be towing away cars, giving parking tickets, speeding tickets, or enforcing codes at this COVID time? And he says, "Yes, there was a time where that is true, but now we are enforcing codes, looking for crime, and looking for various violations in the city, vehicles, cars, anything." And I said, "Okay." So as we continue to talk, the tow truck pulled up in front of my home, and I was just filled with dismay and shock that my classic car was being towed away. And I felt like there was just nothing I could absolutely do to change the outcome. Yet I asked the service officer, can I get a hearing? Can I speak with somebody to file a complaint or stop my car from being towed away? He says, "Once the car gets in the system, then here's a number you can call, and you can ask for a hearing." So as I saw my car being towed away, I kind of thanked the officer, and I was very polite, walked back inside, and after waiting a few hours to get have my classic car in the system, and I made a phone call to get the car out. So I bailed the car out for $259, and then I went home. Car was delivered, and I ended up getting on the phone and finding out who I could speak with in order to get a hearing or speak to somebody about the tow. So as I called Mission Viejo, because that's where I live and that's where the car was towed away, I went to Lake Forest. And then I've been talking to a community service officer representative, and explained what happened. And they took my number, and a few hours later I ended up getting a call from the on-duty deputy, and we ended up having a conversation, and I explained to him. I was very gracious and humble, and the officer said that we're going to refund your money. It's going to take anywhere to 3 to 4 weeks to get your money back. I said, "Thank you so very much. I really appreciate your time, and thank you for helping me get the money back from my vehicle," and stated that there was a misunderstanding with the vehicle and the plates and everything, and they understood, and their procedure, they could have done things just a little bit different. So I was very happy that I ended up getting my money back, but what the frustrating seeing my car being towed away. In most cities, in every city, there's either a community service officer station, those who go out and reinforce codes and see if there's any code violations. In other cities, there's code enforcement, which is the same thing as a community service officer, yet their duties could vary in range what they might be doing. But my experience has been with code enforcement, and through the different cities that I have lived throughout my life. And one of the cities here in California that is very stringent and reinforced codes is the city of Long Beach. They have code enforcement. They do street sweeping, I think Monday through Wednesday, and through different areas of the city. And they have street sweepers go along and they sweep the curb, and they usually have signs anywhere that say we're street sweeping on Monday from 4 a.m. to 12 noon, or it could be Tuesday, Wednesday. And what happens is when the street sweeper drives, there's a code enforcement officer behind the street sweeper. So if the street sweeper can't clean the curbs or the street cleanly, if there's a vehicle in its path, then they'll go around it, and the community service officer or the code enforcement will then give a ticket to that vehicle or whatever may be obstructing the street sweeper from doing its cleaning. And the tickets could be either a $50 ticket, $60 ticket, or if your registration is out of date, then they have every right to, within the city ordinances, to tow that vehicle away. And that's a lot of the majority of the funds outside of taxes that goes to the city and helps employ these tow yard companies. So there's rampant. There are a lot of tow companies in the area that make a business from towing cars, assisting the code enforcement officers taking these cars. And at one time, I did believe that it was a free way to steal cars legally, and yet I kind of changed my view. Is you just have to have your car registered, make sure that it doesn't have any back tickets or owing tickets. My experience is, if your registration is 6 months and beyond, don't park the car on the street, because it will get towed. If you're driving it on the street, make sure you have a moving permit to move that vehicle, or it will get towed. If it's 5 months, it's usually up to the officer or community service officer or code enforcement to either tow the vehicle away or give a citation, and then you have to pay the ticket fees and plus the registration. Yet you don't want to get your vehicle towed. So make sure that your vehicle is registered. Here in the state of California, there's a lot of code enforcement service officers in every city. I've experienced it in Pomona, where I lived briefly. They have a release form that's anywhere from $50 to $100 for you to get your car towed away, plus impound fees, storage fees, registration, any ticket. So you could really lose your car and end up having to pay up to $1,000 or more in order to get your car out of impound. And if you leave the car in an impound, then not only they're gonna do a lien sale on your vehicle, then they're gonna sell the vehicle and also bill you for the 30 days of impound, unless you turn in the pink slip and give them the car. So you want to make sure that your register's up to date, all tickets are paid, and you're up to date. Another experience I had when I lived in Long Beach is I ended up renting a garage, and then I had also a parking spot in the little apartment that I rented in Long Beach. And I had a 1964 Chrysler 300 that was probably about 14 feet long. My driveway was probably maybe 13 feet long, and the car was over into the sidewalk about a foot. And then one night I came home from work and the car was taken away, and I was so angry, and then had a hearing with the code enforcement judge, and it was determined that my car was sticking out into the sidewalk, that they had every right in order to tow my car. So if you have a car, it's longer than your driveway, make sure it's registered and park it on the street. You don't want to have your vehicle sticking out into the sidewalk, because the sidewalk is public and owned by the city, and they can ticket you and also tow your vehicle away if they so deem so, depending what city you're on. Yeah, thank you very much for watching this video, and I post videos twice a week. Thank you very much again.